All right, Compadres Talk, episode 4. My name is Frank Gutierrez, joined by Victor Sandano and our fill-in guest host, Adrian Navarro, to my left.
Welcome, Adrian.
Welcome, Adrian.
Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. Just a little bit about Adrian. He and I have known each other. We met at work, and he started off as an intern. I was already maybe 1 or 2 years into the company. Never really thought we would, continue talking, I guess, after that internship that he had. He still had to finish school, and he finished school, came back, got an offer to work at the same company, and it's been history ever since then. Our friendship has grown, from that day on, and it's nice to have him here today on this podcast. And just Rich, we miss you, man. You weren't able to join today. Work-life balance is very important, and we support that 100%. And again, Adrian, thank you for joining us this week. And
Absolutely. Thank you guys.
So I don't know, man. Do you want to what should we open up with? Like, what should we talk about in regards to, how we met, right? How many years ago was that?
Probably it's been 7 years already, and you missed a lot of things on how we met.
So let's run it back. There you go. What did I miss? Let's go.
All right. So when we first met, I had just started my internship. I knew nobody. I came into there as a college guy. I felt like everyone was way older than me in the department that I came into. I was like, how am I going to make any friends here? And then I feel like it had been a couple weeks or a week or two into my internship, learning under the person I was training under. He was pretty cool. I was learning basic things.
Yeah.
And
I think
then
I know
one
what
day,
you're referring to. I know what you're referring to.
This guy named Frank he pops his head out of his cubicle. And
back when Frank had hair, I'm sure. Yeah, it was his pre
a little comb over or something like that.
Bald Frank.
No, he was bald. He was still.
I was in denial of the baldness.
No, it was he just had me print out some things from the copying machine.
Well, that's how it started. That's how they had me started too. Was basically hey, you're a grunt, and we don't really have any. We don't want to give ourselves more work trying to figure out what you could do. So we're going to give you the easiest grunt work possible, which is working at the copy machine. Yeah. And that's how they trained me. So I was like, well, I guess I'll do the same thing with the new intern. And even now, and let's finish what you're gonna say. But even now with interns, when they say, okay, what are we gonna come up with for them to work on? Literally, nobody wants to step up and say, everyone's quiet. Everyone's nobody wants to even mess with the intern.
They don't want to mess with the interns. Yeah, it's
So I understand it more now after being with the company for so many years. It's okay, I see how it feels more like a task or a chore, but it was different with you, I think, because we sparked that friendship.
Yeah.
And what happened after that? It wasn't just the copy machine, right?
Well, that's how it started, and then we started talking, and then you invited me out to lunch to go get I think it was In-N-Out. In-N-Out was the first thing we got, and we hopped in your old Dodge Charger, which I thought was super cool.
I still love that Charger. We went to Vegas in that Charger.
Oh my God, we did. It was just me and you, right?
That's right.
Oh
that's
my
right.
God.
That's a story for another day, by the way.
Yeah.
We don't want to get in trouble now.
Maybe next week.
Maybe next week
before we go to Vegas again.
Oh, that's right.
We'll save that story for next week.
Okay. I'm getting excited just thinking about that day.
I got excited seeing your story. You're ready. The Vegas bod is ready.
Oh my God!
No, man,
bod,
dude. I told Tanya, I was don't post that picture.
Oh, you gotta be proud.
It wasn't. I don't think it was up to. I need to lose still another 10 pounds at least, maybe.
You got 2 weeks. It's possible.
I'm gonna have to do the Joe Rogan, Hugh Jackman body, or I'm gonna have to do the Joe Rogan fast or something. Man. Have you heard of that?
Nobody cares.
Nobody gives a fuck about what you look like anyway, right? It doesn't even matter.
You can be on such a good one, man. It's not even gonna matter.
Just have another drink, and then none of it really matters at that point.
You'll visualize that 6-pack. When we take those shots of tequila.
I could edit the photo to put in the 6-pack or something like that. Yeah, wait, just because All right, no, it's fine.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, we're good.
Okay.
Where are you?
You want to save it?
No,
Hey, bro,
yeah.
I was giving you a compliment and you just started roasting your body.
Yeah.
Well, I told
This is
Tanya.
our generation.
Tanya
This is
was
the world
gonna,
we live in now.
This is the world we live. It's like when you think of Noah Lyles, right, and how he won the gold medal in the 100-meter fastest man in the world sort of title.
Right.
And then, well, obviously he lost the 200-meter. He had COVID. But then obviously the trolls come in and they make fun of that and they're like, well,
before they
did you really have COVID?
yeah.
Before, did you just make an excuse up? Like, honestly, like, I don't even know.
And apparently his coach came out and said he had like 102 fever as he was doing the race.
I believe it.
Which is insane. And then like you see him like pretty much not necessarily collapse, but he pretty much was like gassed at the end of the race.
Yeah.
And people were like, dude, what's going on with Noah Lyles? And then like the medical team came and started treating him, and then he ended up leaving like in a wheelchair kind of thing. But yeah, I know it sucks for Noah.
Yeah,
you know?
it's hard to say. Do you think what's your personal opinion? Do you think he had COVID?
I mean, based on the reports, I mean, I'm not gonna like deny it. I mean, the only people that know is him and maybe his coach. That's about it. But I think the whole storyline of him not being able to accomplish the double in the sprint is like really sucks, you know, because I made a mistake and I actually didn't realize this is actually his second Olympics. I thought it was his first.
The 2020 Tokyo Olympics was his first.
He won bronze, and I think the 200 that was his first Olympics. But you know,
how did he do? Did he do pretty well?
Well, he won bronze.
He won bronze in the 200. What about the 100?
Yeah,
we don't know.
To fact check that. Yeah. But anyhow, so now he's 27, so you know he'll be 31 when he's out in LA if he does choose to compete.
No, I think absolutely. Why wouldn't he? Right? I mean, he's still of age to. I mean,
he's still very young. But it's hard. Winning the doubles in the sprint is really hard. That's why Usain Bolt's the last one to do it.
Yeah, and there was a connection there between Usain Bolt and Noah Lyles when they had like Usain Bolt was telling him, hey, like the sport needs your personality, right? Your outgoingness, like your fearlessness, and saying whatever it is that you need to say.
Yeah, and it seems like a lot of the athletes in track and field are really like just business oriented. Mm-hmm. They're there to work. They're not there to showboat. They're not there to bring, I guess you want to call it, awareness to the sport. Mm-hmm. And Noah's kind of been the face of that. You know, he's obviously sponsored by Adidas, and he's doing campaigns for them, along with like Sha'Carri Richardson and stuff.
I feel like when it comes to track and field, their moment to shine is only when the Olympics comes around. Like I feel like when it's not the Olympics, we don't really highlight them.
Well, yeah, it's their Super Bowl. I mean, they do have world championships every year to determine, you know, a champion every year, but obviously the ones that those athletes care about, the track and field athletes, is the Olympics. Because that's when it's a showcase. That's when all that hard work, all those years of training for 10, 15 seconds, whatever it is, you know, they're allowed to showcase themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I personally only watch track and field at the Olympics.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, me too, man. I mean, yeah, and it's fun, man. It's entertaining. Even the women's this year was entertaining, man. Gabby Thomas winning the 200. And you know, she has a cool background. You know, she's a Harvard grad. She has a graduate degree in epidemiology from Texas. Mm-hmm. She got her undergrad at Harvard in neurobio, which is insane. And then she's Olympic champion, so it's pretty awesome. You know, I think the 4x100 relay women, you know, Sha'Carri Richardson had that great finish where she was like
good, where she looked to the side
and said, you know, it's over, you know. And it's awesome, you know. You see them and the women are doing their thing. And going back to Gabby Thomas, I think she's the last woman to win the 200 meter since Allison Felix 2012. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty awesome.
She won the 200 meter.
200 meter, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, no, I mean, the Olympics were definitely, there was a lot of things to highlight, and it was overwhelming, I think, at least for me. I mean, every day there was something to watch. And if you were home, then during the morning hours, you could catch it live. Otherwise, you'd have to watch the NBC primetime, right, where they show you
which
the
I did
replay.
most days. That's what I did.
And they did a good job of
they did a great job,
highlighting and summarizing it, right?
Yeah, it was awesome. Mike Tirico, obviously, he's the face of NBC. I love Mike.
Mike Tirico.
He's so good, man. I mean, you can't hate on Mike Tirico, man. But he's, everybody involved. They're really good, and it's cool because it's like we need to refill.
Yeah, there was a fly that's swimming in Adrian's beer right now. He's still alive. He's gonna die a happy death just sipping on that double IPA. That's for sure.
Oh man.
But when it comes to the Olympics, dang it, I had a thought there when you were mentioning.
Well, Mike Tirico.
Prime Time. Oh. Did you guys catch the breakdancing session?
Oh, what was that?
What was?
Man.
That one Australian. Look, honestly, like we don't promote any kind of hate or excessive hate. It's like, look, she was out there doing
that. They tried the breaking. They called it breaking in the Olympics.
Breaking.
Breakdancing. And I was reading comments where people from Australia, like, I'm Australian, and they were like, I apologize on behalf of all Australians. Yeah. That is the best we had, kind of deal. Honestly, I don't even know who ended up winning the competition, but
there's no way though. I feel like there's so many better breakdancers.
Oh yeah,
the people that were at the Olympics.
You can catch people from the street that put on a better performance. But they're trying to the Olympics. They're trying to attract a younger crowd. I understand. That's why they brought skateboarding and all that.
Skateboarding was cool. That's a more established sport, extreme sport, or whatever you want to call it.
But they're doing their best to attract new audiences and younger audiences. But it wasn't and there was a lot of people there. I was surprised. Like
at the bless you.
People that were there. Yeah. I was like kind of surprised how many people were there, like watching that event.
Jesus.
It was not very good at all. But
yeah, I think we saw some of the replays last night. The guys, the men's competition, the gold medal and the bronze medal, and it's hard. You're saying to yourself, like, how do they even judge it? It's very subjective, right? Like, what matters, right? Maybe the difficulty of their moves, and then also things maybe not repeating the same move, because in the bronze match, the American Victor, I don't know his last name, but he won the bronze medal, and during the competition he like made a gesture to imply that his opponent was repeating the moves. And so even though I thought, as I was watching it, I'm like, that the guy is some guy from Japan, and I thought he was doing a great job, and his skills, his movements looked difficult, but he kept, I guess, repeating them, and the judges, I think, agreed, because at the end of the day, Victor from the U.S. won the bronze medal.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, wow, interesting. But yeah, it'll continue to evolve maybe in the coming Olympics. Breakdancing, that is, right? So
we'll see. We'll see how it ends up coming down the road.
That was something I saw people noting too, is that maybe the way that they score it changed the way that the competitors were dancing.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
They were dancing for points.
Yeah,
and like chaining their moves in certain ways to get the most points, which might not look the best.
I was gonna say, it probably, like, visually for the audience, they might not understand that aspect of the competition, right? But yeah, to me it was like, that's not really breakdancing.
Oh my god!
I was like, what is this?
I think we should see you in the 2028 LA Olympics as the.
I'll volunteer at the breakdancing competition, bro. We'll see. I don't know about all that.
I gotta see it, man.
I'm gonna be kind of old by then, bro. So we'll see. I'll be almost 40 by then. So.
Well, I think you'll do better than the Australian.
Yeah, poor Australians.
Oh god.
Not their best outing.
I know we introduced Adrian, and I know that when you met Adrian, you guys sort of sparked a connection when it comes to photography, videography, right? Like there was some things that you guys talked about, more photography based.
I know Adrian has an Instagram page dedicated to his photography, so if you want to plug that, go for it.
It's adrian.images.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm huge into photography. It's one of my passions. And I go into these I go through phases where I'll be like big into photography, and I'll be shooting every day, uploading every day, and then there'll be times where I just have nothing for a couple months.
Like,
and I do like that.
What feeds that? What feeds the pause? Is it mood?
Yeah, it's like mood, and I like to keep it my hobby, and when I start doing it every day, like that's when I'm like most passionate about it. But then it reaches a certain point where I get to like burnout, and it starts to feel like work.
Oh yeah.
And that's usually when
That's when you don't want.
That's when I go on a
That's
break.
when you want to stop. Yeah.
Yeah, I go on a break, and I'm like, people start asking me to take photos for them because they see me uploading.
Oh, I'm sure.
And
yeah,
I'm like,
sure, all the time.
And I always tell them, I'm like, it's just my hobby. So
I'm not a professional.
Yeah, I don't like to see it, even though it might my work and my photos look really good to you. Like I don't want to shoot for people because then it becomes work, and it
takes the
kind
fun
of
out of
changes
it,
the
right?
dynamic. Yeah,
it takes the fun out of it. I know for me, it's one of the first things that we talked about when we first met. And the first time we met, I think, was at the USC game, right? Or
So that was not
second
the
time.
first-
that was
second
not
or
the-
third time, maybe.
was that
Mesa was
What's
the first time
we like hung
Mesa.
out?
Mesa.
It's the first time we hung out. I want to like hung out.
First time that the first time that we hung
I
out
guess that's what I
officially was at the USC game,
Versus
and
Washington.
we're gonna do that again this year. I hope you guys are down for it.
Always down. That was an amazing time. That was the first time in maybe 5 years I had gone to a SC home game.
Mhm.
And I
We had
regret
decent
not
seats.
have gone those other years.
We got to see Caleb.
Got to see Caleb, which was awesome. Got to see Brendan Rice do his thing as well. And man, Washington brought it, man. I mean, it was a hell of a game. It was a shootout, and it was tons of fun. The tailgating is on another level. It happened to be alumni weekend that weekend as well.
We got to be on campus.
It was chaos, but it was good chaos. It was fun.
It was a lot of fun.
yeah, the whole atmosphere there is awesome at USC.
Yeah,
There's
it's
so many
amazing.
people. Diehard fans everywhere.
More prideful for a USC grad over here, but as a longtime USC fan, I was hyped the whole time. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, you can't deny the USC network, Trojans, across the country. I mean, I feel privileged to be a part of that, and I still love it to this day, and I'm looking forward to going to some more games this upcoming season.
Frank, how do you identify a Trojan alumni? Let's see it. What's the signal?
Well, I'll tell you. So an example of it was funny. We were in Manhattan Beach. It was a couple days ago. I think it was on Friday, and we went to this. I think it was like a stone fire. No, it was like a pizza stone fire restaurant. Do you know the name of that place? It's right there on Manhattan Beach Boulevard, by the pier. I don't know the official name of that place.
It's Manhattan Pizzeria.
Yeah, but it's not the one. It's a different one.
It's not the one like right down the
not that one.
Fire or something.
It's one like right when you enter the pier, sort of that final street before the pier.
It's like more of a restaurant, right?
Yeah, but it's very relaxed. It's like a casual dining sort of spot.
The Metlocks. It's like
okay.
Well, anyway, the point was I was going to pay, and my debit card has the USC on it, and then the guy was like, "Oh, I love your card." I'm like, "Oh yeah, thanks, bro." And then he's like, "Oh, look, I got that USC Firestone beer." I'm like, "Oh, that's awesome!" And we're just like and we were just like very, it was just an immediate connection. So obviously throughout the South Bay, when you come across people and you have those interactions, it's fun, and there's just sort of like a lifelong value that's associated with that. So I'm very happy, obviously, to be a part of that.
Well, it's a requirement to be a UC grad to live in Manhattan Beach. You know that,
right? Matt Leiner will tell you that.
It's a requirement.
It's a requirement. Okay.
Either that or have lived in SoCal for at least 10 years.
Yeah. Not be a UCLA fan, that's for sure. We don't want that.
I have yet to see a UCLA flag.
Or Daddy's money.
You don't see that. Those are not waved as proudly.
Yeah.
Jesus.
But going back to the photography part of it, I'm an avid lover of film. I love shooting film. That's one of the things that we kind of like bonded over. So one of the aspects that we love about film is the developing part of it. One of the things that we talked about was how when you shoot something in film, the beauty of it is that you don't know what you're going to capture until you develop the film. And when you develop it, it's like it's a moment in time, I guess you want to call it. And Adrian said it best earlier when he said it's like when you see a film, the film being developed, it's like memories one by one are getting like shown on paper or whatever film you want to call it. So it's fun. I personally have a Pentax UCI. It's a point and shoot camera that I bought years ago on like eBay for like $60. But it's been my go-to film camera since I've had it, and it develops beautifully on like 400 film. So it's fun. Like Adrian says, that's really fun. I kind of try to pick and choose what I shoot, since obviously you don't know what it's going to be like, but it is a lot of fun.
Yeah, I started back in like 2019, like end of 2018 in Christmas. My brother's the one that got me into it. He was just like, he's like, I always see you taking photos on your iPhone. He's like, you're always looking to like what the camera specs are on the next iPhone. You're always taking pictures. He's like, I think you would really enjoy just buying like an actual DSLR digital camera.
Yeah.
And he took me to buy my first camera at Paul's Photo in Torrance.
Nice.
And it was just
That's
like
a staple, bro. It's a staple.
I got the starter kit, like this Canon starter kit, just like a basic entry-level digital camera. And yeah, I just started learning from one of my brother's friends. He taught me how to shoot in manual mode, and he taught me the importance of that, like learning all of the settings and how they can affect how the photo will come out, like the end result. There's certain things you can tweak to get certain effects. And yeah, I've just been learning ever since. I upgraded to like a Sony mirrorless camera, and that's like my baby. That's like, I'll probably never get rid of that camera. And it'll always be a good camera.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
People are always trying to keep up with the latest tech or have the latest camera, and they try to tell you how important it is to have like the newest thing.
They're
But
just
it's not
trying.
true.
They're just trying
Yeah.
to upsell you on the newest stuff, right? Like you don't
Yeah.
necessarily need it, kind of a thing.
You definitely don't need it. Like these cameras these days have all these like awesome auto focus features, and like you don't need more than that.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
they might come
Yeah.
out with cool new stuff, but the most important thing is the person who's shooting the photo,
Absolutely.
what
yeah.
they see, what
Good
they
way to
want to
put it.
capture, like what you want to capture in the moment, how you want to capture it. And then the other really important thing is the lens that you're using. The lens makes a huge difference in terms of image quality, how the photo looks, the colors that are in the photo,
Right.
and like your, I don't even, what kind of shirt is that?
It's a Levi shirt from Ross, by the way.
I know, but they're like cactuses.
At one point-
flowers.
Yeah, yeah.
It was at the Levi store at one
It
point.
was
I
a
was just
Levi
gonna
store
say.
at one point, and it
Yeah.
showed up at my all-time favorite store.
It
Ross
looks good. I thought it
Dress
was Zara or something. When I saw it, I was like, yeah,
Zara?
yeah. I was like,
man,
all
Zara
right.
I don't fit in Zara, bro.
All right.
It's like you have to be a medium to be able to buy anything at Zara.
But I was just gonna say that's a cool shirt, and depending on
Thank you, bro. I appreciate it.
yeah, depending on what lens you use, it can look slightly different. Like
Yeah,
when
yeah,
you take the
for sure.
photo,
The color might look more vibrant versus
the
dull.
vibrancy of it. All of that stuff matters, and all of it, I like geek out about all of that stuff, and that's what led me into getting into film. Well, actually, my brother got me into film also.
Oh, nice.
He's been like, he's like huge into movies, cinematography, and so I've always like a lot of my hobbies come from him, and so he got me into photography. I was huge into digital photography, learned how to use a camera and all of that, and then recently, 2 years ago on my birthday, he got me my first film camera, which was a Minolta SRT 201.
Nice.
And he's like, you're gonna love this. He's like, I know you're gonna love this. He's like, just start buying film and shooting, and then tell me how you like it. And ever
Good.
since then, like film is my favorite way to shoot. And
Film is
it's
not
more
dead,
memorable.
as they say, right?
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I just love shooting a roll of film. When you go to develop it, you almost forget what photos you took.
Yeah.
And so when you get them back, you're like, oh yeah,
That's cool, yeah.
we did do all those things. And like,
that's
I
really
remember
cool.
when I took that, I forgot I took that photo.
Yeah.
And it's just so cool being able to look back. Yeah.
Should get into it, Frank.
No, I'm inspired.
I'll
Honestly,
get to
like
a point and shoot, man. There's like so many different point and shoots now.
yeah. So okay, I'm the beginner, the entry level guy who wants to get into photography. When you say I'm gonna get you the point and shoot,
So
what
point and
is
shoot's
that?
like the most like basic, like simple film camera you could have.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically everything's already like auto tuned, so you
Uh-huh.
don't need to do really much.
Hmm.
At least the one that I have. So you literally just, how it says, point and shoot. You literally make sure it's focused, you shoot it, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Like
all it
what do
is.
you think a camera like that would run me as an entry level?
Not a lot. I mean, like I said, I paid $60 for mine. Like
$60. Wow.
6-7 years ago.
That's why people love film.
Yeah.
It's-
And it would
it's-
be nice quality photos at the end of the day, right?
Yeah,
Maybe not
based
yours.
on the
Just kidding.
based on the
Oh,
film you
shit.
use, and stuff.
Burn. But I'm starting to get more into like videography.
Yeah.
Right, like shooting video. Like, what do you guys know? What kind of camera that you would, as an entry level, that you would recommend that I use?
Well, how's that Sony you have as far as the video quality?
That one does video as well, right? It's pretty good.
It has really good video. You can basically start off with any camera within the past 3 to 4 years that has good video capabilities, and you'll be good. Like a lot of the Sony cameras have amazing video.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Yeah.
So get a Sony camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A Sony mirrorless. Any of them.
Maybe we'll get down the line.
Yeah, when I'm ready to buy one, I'll reach out to you guys and for your advice on a good camera, right? That's gonna sort of meet all the criteria to have good, crisp video quality. And then from there, who knows? I'm sure my curiosity will grow from that point.
Quality's all in the lens.
Is that what it is?
For the most part, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I'm learning.
The resolution matters, like 4K, all that, but you can get a really crisp 1080p. Like, you'll look really good, even if it's 1080p.
Even you?
Yeah.
Even me?
4K doesn't always matter. Or megapixels don't really matter that much.
Yeah.
It's like how the image is interpreted by the lens,
the lighting, the angle,
angles,
right? Yeah. The background, the movement, maybe in the background.
Yeah, all that stuff's more important than the specs of the camera.
It becomes almost like cinematic in a sense, right? Like it's like you're doing a movie or something. Yeah. That's dope.
Basically,
like,
what it is now.
I've seen some guys even on Instagram where they do incredible shots, and I'm sitting there like, what? I've seen
this guy. I don't know his Instagram page, but he'll go to like gas stations, and he'll run into guys that have like muscle cars. Oh. And he'd be like, "Hey man, I'm a videographer.
You mind if
you got a minute so I can shoot a video?"
I seen that guy. Yeah.
Dude, this guy like does some incredible stuff, dude.
It was like I think he did one with like
he's a young kid too.
It was like a Ford Mustang. It was, and then
he's like, "Hey man, that's a cool car, bro."
People in the comments were like, they should hire this guy to do all their commercials because this is incredible.
It's like literally like a commercial you would see like on TV. Like it's amazing. So yeah, no, it's endless.
It's fun, man. Do, yeah. As long as you have the right hardware to capture those moments, then the opportunities are limitless at that point, I think.
Oh yeah, and I think it's great that people are like using that to their advantage and they're creating job opportunities and monetizing from those type of things. Yeah, it's really cool, man. It's really cool to see. It takes a lot of skill,
Yeah,
a lot of trial and error, but it's not impossible.
Yeah, for sure.
The skill is what matters the most. So anyone that's like wanting to get out there, don't worry about like the price of entry. You can get in at like pretty much any budget,
right.
And start making like amazing things. It's all about the preparation, planning out your shots.
Yeah.
When it comes to video, planning out your shots, making sure you have like a vision on what you want the final outcome to be. And then you can use any camera to make that happen.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And then from there you can branch out and deploy the drones and.
Yeah, then you can start.
Jesus.
Then you can start getting
shots. Get fancy, bro.
Dude, I've seen those shots. Like, what the hell?
That's
but it's
amazing.
it's like a drone and like a GoPro or something like that. I mean, who?
Probably a drone, most likely nowadays.
I know nothing about that stuff.
People don't use. I haven't seen GoPros.
I'm too scared to use drones.
That's crazy. Yeah.
I feel like I would crash it.
There's like cities now where like you can't even fly your drones. Like they're not
I wonder
allowed in
if you tried
cities.
to fly your drone in your front yard and would you get some sort of. Nobody would really.
No,
somebody, maybe a
there's
neighbor.
Like certain parts of the city where they don't
care.
They don't like it.
Nobody cares.
Yeah.
He'll be fine.
People do it anyways.
Now that was a great introductory topic, and there's a lot of meat there that we could dive into more. Maybe
definitely.
at a future date. But I want to segue into the next topic, which is the men's basketball, the final that we just saw a few days ago.
Yesterday.
Was it yesterday?
Yesterday, yeah.
So it wasn't really a close game. I'd say the Serbia game was a lot closer.
I mean, France made a run in the third quarter.
They kept it close.
Yeah. So what were your guys' impressions about that game? I mean, obviously, Chef Curry came to cook. Curry.
I mean, Steph did his thing. Obviously, LeBron did his thing. I feel like Steph had his Olympic moment. yesterday in the gold medal game. You know, he had an amazing fourth quarter. You know, hitting those 4 threes, doing the night after he hit that crazy fourth three and said it's over, man. To sleep. You know, it was pretty cool, you know, to see. And you know, Steph being I think this was his first Olympics. Was this his first Olympics?
I was amazed to learn of that. I mean, really? His first Olympics?
I think it was his first Olympics, yeah. So that was like the last thing on his list, pretty much.
Is he even going to do the LA Olympics as a veteran almost?
I want to say between him, KD, and LeBron, this was the last Olympic run for them.
Definitely LeBron. We can't expect him in the LA Olympics, but maybe Steph, if he follows LeBron's
maybe
age.
We'll see. But, I mean, it all depends on... I'm sure, like, having Steve Kerr as his coach was easy, obviously.
There was a lot of talk there with Steve Kerr as the coach, and people were maybe criticizing his choice of the roster and whether or not Jason Tatum and Halliburton should have gotten more playing time. But, I mean, you have a roster full of all-stars, and I think at the end of the day, people are never going to be satisfied with whatever choices that he would have made anyways. And they won the gold medal, so it's irrelevant what people think and how they got there.
I think even that, like, you know, going based on what you just said, like Steph at his interview at the end of the game said, like, at the end of every like break they would say 1, 2, 3 gold. You know, so I think everybody's mind was they want to win the gold. They don't care how they win the gold. They don't care who plays in those important games. They want to win the gold, right? That's their ultimate goal. So I feel like, obviously, during the Serbia game, like last week, when Jason Tatum didn't play at all and stuff, people were, even Bob Cousy came out and said something. Old-timer Bob Cousy.
What did he say?
He was saying it's like a travesty that he's not playing.
Come on,
he's
that's dramatic.
First team All-NBA.
It's a travesty.
Like, shame on Steve Kerr. Like, what are they doing?
Shame
like,
on you for opening your fucking mouth.
I pay no mind because Bob Cousy is a Boston Celtic, and I can care less
Who gives
what
a fuck
Bob Cousy
about
said.
Boston?
But going into, like, Jason Tatum, like, you know, and the fact that, like, Drew Holiday and Derek White were getting more playing time than Jason Tatum, like, they're like, how is, like, the role players for the team that Jason Tatum is the star of getting more playing time than the star of the Celtics, or one of the stars besides him and Jaylen Brown?
There's such an easy explanation for that, though.
Let's
when you think about it.
Steve Kerr hates Boston Celtics. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, shit. Derek White and Drew Holiday, they're huge stars as role players, and so they can easily mold into what's needed. Whereas Jason Tatum, obviously he's good all around. He's a great player, but they already have, like, there's so many good all around great star players to rely on.
Is Jason Tatum more ball dominant, like a requirement to his play?
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I feel like in those big time moments, say like the game versus Serbia and yesterday against France.
Yeah.
Who were the guys in the game? Guys
Steph
that are
Curry,
clutch.
KD, LeBron.
Guys that are clutch in the fourth
AD.
quarter. And what does Jason Tatum have? He's been criticized to not be so clutch in the fourth quarter, or in moments where he needs to come through, right? So that's another reason why Steve Kerr stuck with the guys that he knows for a fact will come through when he needs them to come through.
Yeah, and he had, as a coach, he had a small window to understand the total team chemistry, obviously, but during the pre-medal matches, the non-elimination matches, I think he had enough to be able to see that which guys meshed the best, and he looked at his bench and said, okay, well, is Tatum on the lower end compared to KD, Steph Curry, Anthony Edwards, even Devin Booker.
But even Steve Kerr came out yesterday saying, like, he pretty much called Devin Booker like the unsung hero of this Olympic team.
Who did?
Steve Kerr.
Steve Kerr. Okay.
Because, like, Devin Booker was one of those guys that he didn't care what his role was. I'm gonna do whatever it takes. And for all we know, Jason Tatum wasn't one of those guys. We don't know that. I'm just speculating. But at the same time, Devin Booker was in the starting lineup almost every game, right? For a reason. And he's another shooting guard. They had all these shooting guards. I mean, I know they had KD come off the bench. AD was coming off the bench. Anthony Edwards was coming off the bench.
It's crazy. Off the bench.
That's
crazy, dude.
I mean, AD coming off the bench, you're like, what? you know. But you
It's
know, you got
crazy.
Embiid in there, you know. So
AD was in the closing lineup, right?
yeah, he was the
France.
most closing lineups for every game, and he did great this Olympics. I
Yeah.
was like really pumped that he was.
I
like,
think we could
balling
say
out.
he did better than Embiid
Yeah.
at that position.
I think he had more. He affected the game more than Embiid did. I mean,
Yeah.
I know Embiid played great against Serbia in the semifinal game, but AD was all over, man. He
Yeah.
was blocking
He has
shots,
such great energy
offensive
on defense.
rebounds. I mean, he was all over the place. It was
Mhm.
great to see. And LeBron being LeBron, KD being KD. I mean, how about KD coming off the bench? First guy off the bench, dude. It's like, Jesus.
Those are the memes. It's like
It's like,
the
God, what
guy,
do you
whoever's
do,
guarding the
man?
guy before KD comes off the bench, and then KD comes into the game. He's like, oh man, like
Yeah.
I gotta
It's
guard
like-
KD now.
Yeah, so you know, the Serbia game was insane, man. That game was like, I was a nail
They
biter,
had a
dude.
good chance. They had a better
that was
chance.
better
Of,
take an L.
Dude. Down 17, I think in the third or something,
Jesus,
or
going into the
the half, or I
going
don't
into-
remember. But
yeah.
they call it the greatest,
Was
basically,
it?
U.S. men's Olympic comeback ever.
Jesus.
Yeah.
You saw that game?
I didn't, but I mean,
Oh,
I
you
watched like
didn't?
bits of it when I could when I was working. But I know you were like texting during the game and stuff.
It was
like,
incredible,
dude.
man. I thought for a second that the U.S. team was going to get upset. Jokic, the Joker, and Bogdanovich, and there was somebody else that was also shooting very well. I don't know the guy's name,
One or
but
the other, yeah.
but it could have been an easy upset for Team USA, and they came out of it.
And
So
then Bogdanovich
You
was.
sounded doubtful. You were texting me. You're like,
I was down. I was
like
like,
Bogdanovich.
whoa, what
yeah,
is
he
this?
was. He's like,
Yeah.
Bogdanovich is cooking. I think he had like
And
21 in like 3 quarters. He was mocking Melo with his.
yeah.
No, we
his
talked about
three.
that. Was that a mock or was that respect
was-
being paid? I don't know. I don't know.
Depends on who you ask.
Who you ask? How well? If we ask Carmelo,
I think Carmelo embraced it. I think
He embraced it, okay.
Yeah, I want to say he embraced
So,
it.
okay.
Maybe LeBron didn't like it too much at the time.
because then there was a point where LeBron went to Carmelo, and there was kind of like this
Like, get
moment
that
where it's like,
mother effer,
like
yeah.
it was just like,
But I think in the bronze medal game, Melo was there too, and him and Bogdanovich had like a moment, like it's all respect, you know,
okay,
kind of thing.
yeah.
I mean, hey, he was balling that game, dude. The semifinal game against the U.S. So you got to give him his flowers, you know.
If you ask me, I mean, I think Serbia was more deserving. If they didn't beat Team USA, they were more deserving of the silver medal than was
France?
France. Because if France and Serbia played, I think Serbia would beat them.
Yeah, I would say yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, France, they put up a good fight, but I mean, compared to the U.S., I think the big men they were too much for the U.S. But yeah, going back to Serbia, I mean, seeing Serbia play so well this Olympics, it kind of shows you like how they're so evenly matched now with the U.S. Not like before.
the gap is
past.
closing, right? Would
Big
you say
time.
big time?
Yeah.
Big
Even
time.
France. How is France like? I mean,
Well, yeah.
Wemby is only what 19, 20 years old.
20.
20 years old.
People forget France played the U.S. in the gold medal game the last Olympics.
Mm.
So
Were they
you know,
closer
they've
at
been
that
there.
point in that final game last
It was
Olympics?
about the same.
About the same.
It was about the same, yeah. So you know, France is up there too.
And then
Um,
Argentina and Spain still have room. They always got players coming up.
Yeah, you know,
over
Spain
there.
had that run in the early 2000s where they were basically evenly matched with the U.S. You know,
And I think
in Argentina.
did Spain not even qualify?
Argentina beat us for gold. I
What
think.
happened with Luca?
2004.
Yeah, 2004.
Yeah.
Why didn't we see Luca in the Olympics? Did they get? Did they
he didn't
not
qualify.
They
I
didn't
don't
qualify,
think
right?
I don't think they qualified.
Oh.
Slovenia
They
didn't
tried.
qualify.
That's unfortunate.
But
Yeah,
still-
right, because you want to see those guys.
Yeah.
Even Greece made it.
They were stronger when they had the Gasol brothers, I think,
Rudy Fernandez.
and Rudy
Yeah.
Fernandez.
Dude, I'll never forget
And,
that 2008 gold medal game, dude. Rudy Fernandez.
Gold
had
medal
himself
game?
a
Oh,
game.
wow.
Yeah, when they
'Cause
played
that was-
Spain.
they
Ricky
said-
Rubio.
Dude, they said Team USA had won 8 of the last 9 Olympic gold medals in men's basketball, and that other one was Spain. Was it Spain? Like you just
They
said,
won?
they
Yeah, they
won.
beat Spain.
Spain,
They beat them two Olympics in a row, I want to say.
but at some point Spain had a gold medal, right? Or no?
No.
They never had a gold medal.
They
Oh.
had one, not at least recently.
Hmm.
In Greece, when in 2004 is when the U.S. played Argentina and Ginobili and
Scola.
Manu.
Luis Scola was on that team.
One of my favorite players, Manu
Yeah, I
Ginobili.
love Manu, man.
I love that
Shout
guy.
out to Manu.
The Euro step.
Manu.
Manu.
Hall of Famer, man.
Or who was the one that would go Ginobili?
Who would say that?
That was
Or
Charles
maybe-
Barkley.
yeah.
Charles Barkley. Ginobili.
that was a
Going back
good
to
team.
Team USA.
Oh yeah.
It's just crazy to see how LeBron is still able to be the energy guy at 39 years old.
It's
And be the guy
man.
that's like
Is he
giving
39?
energy to
He's 39 out of 40?
December.
Jesus.
End of December, yeah.
bringing that mentality and like hyping up his teammates, trying to get them locked in.
Well, that's just
Bringing the-
experience, man.
And
Yeah.
when he
It's
comes
been
out,
there.
he still storms down the court.
You got to recognize his greatness. I know I started off a little bit on the hater side, but slowly I've seen what he brings.
No
and
matter how you view
once in a
him,
lifetime
you can't
athlete.
escape his greatness.
Yeah, I don't want to be a
It's
LeBron
gonna
hater.
be there.
I mean, I just
altering his game, like he's modifying it. He's the way he sees.
He's
the game
adapted,
is-
yeah.
He's playing like he can play slow like Luka.
You know, it's funny, like
Which-
looking at LeBron and watching him play, I feel like we're never going to witness a player like him
Yeah,
ever
again.
again. I don't think so.
Well, we still got more time, so let's not.
I mean, you got Carmelo watching him. You got D Wade on the broadcast. These are guys he played with. He came in the league with these
I know
guys.
that's the crazy thing.
And they're not.
they're
they're not
broadcasters,
there.
and
And he's there.
they
And
haven't
he's playing
been.
at a high level. It just goes to show you, like,
Yeah, and how many
How does
years?
this make sense?
It doesn't make sense. It does
And-
not make
yeah,
sense.
It's insane.
He's like you think of like Tom Brady in football, right? Like they were able to play at a high level in the later stages of their life. So it's incredible. I mean, kudos to them.
I don't even think that's a good comparison.
Really,
In terms of I don't want to say it, the physicality difference in terms of staying at top
Right.
of your game in basketball is a
versus
lot more
football
demanding. Versus football
At that
in a ro-
position,
in-
though.
in his position as a
in reference to
quarterback.
Tom Brady.
as a quarterback
Yeah, as a
Yeah.
quarterback.
because they're more protected.
Well, I mean, Tom Brady had some of the best protection ever in
Yeah.
NFL history.
But you
The
guys
time
are
Brady
saying
played.
what the basketball daily sort of grind is more difficult than a football, like maybe what is it, 17-week, 18-week
17 right now.
regular
Soon to be
season,
18.
and then playoffs, and
Right.
maybe potentially Super Bowl. You're saying basketball is more of an intensive. It is more intense on your body, right? Like wear and tear kind of a thing.
Yeah, and there's always obviously the new generation's always coming in more athletic,
Way more athletic, yeah.
more people to keep up with. I don't know. There's a lot that goes into it. You would expect his body to fail him, but he's still.
He's
Well,
still going
he's
strong,
still-
and we still have championship expectations coming into this upcoming season, right?
That's yet to be determined, my
What do you
friend.
mean? Every year it's championship expectations for the Lakers.
Did you guys hear about D'Lo?
What about him?
Did something like...
He's still on the team.
Is he still on the team yet?
Yeah.
I thought there was rumors that there was some kind of...
Well, they
trade
kind of want to
rumor.
trade him for somebody out there. I don't. But he was shooting so well last year. Why do you want to trade somebody who's shooting as well as he was? I don't
He doesn't
understand
show
that.
up in
He's
the
still
playoffs,
inconsistent.
dude.
Yeah.
Maybe his work ethic is questionable. They give
Well, you know, there
stuff
was that
about
scene
that.
where, you know, he was like at the end of the bench, like not being involved, and
Well, the same thing happened with maybe you could even say AD, right? When LeBron had that scoring title and he was at the side of the
Yeah,
bench and they were
yeah.
being critical. He wasn't happy for LeBron and all this stuff.
No, it was more of like because of the intensity of that certain game and how
They were still fighting for
they were-
position
they
in
were
the
still fighting
standings and for
yeah,
playoff
the
standing.
6th, 7th seed at the time.
You can't do anything right when you're a professional
When you're under the
athlete.
microscope
Yeah,
like that,
and
yeah.
we're just behind a
Everything's
keyboard, clicking
magnified.
away, commenting, and just talking shit. And we could never do what they do on a daily basis. So, I mean,
That comes with the territory, though. They know what they signed up for, especially playing in LA, playing for the Lakers.
I think we have a good shot going into this upcoming season. I don't have just as good of a shot that we had last year, right? Is there? Do you think? Are you less
We'll be fighting
confident?
for the 6th
Yeah.
and 7th
Are you less
seed
confident?
again.
Are you? We have AD and we have LeBron, and
mean,
who else
dude,
do we have? We have D'Lo, and
Do
we
you
have
forget how
Connect.
stacked the West
Rudy
is, though?
Hachimura,
The West is
Dalton
super
Connect.
stacked.
Yeah,
Oh, Dalton Connect,
Oh, yeah,
man.
he's going to take us over
Bronny
the top.
James.
Dude, he's.
Oh, no, Bronny James. Never
Oh,
mind.
stop.
Let me not misspeak over here.
Bronny James, he's not going to play, unfortunately. But
Yeah, we'll see.
maybe he can develop into something. Maybe,
And, yeah, the bad part is that Bronny can't go to the G League. I think it's like in his contract or something.
well, he'll learn from the bench, I guess. I
They
don't
can't
know
put him-
what
they
to
can't bring him
say.
down.
He'll be like Jason Tatum,
Yeah, so we'll see.
learning from the bench.
Oh God,
We'll see.
I'm just as confident about their chances in this upcoming season as I was of their chances last season.
If AD can have another healthy season like he did this past season.
Yeah, let's not have him. We can't see Grimace.
Knock on wood.
We got to see.
We got to
Prime AD, man. Prime AD. It's possible.
Yeah.
He was good.
Last season he was like an Iron Man.
He was awesome last season. I think he played 76 out of the 82 games.
Whatever he did, he's got to do it again this upcoming season for us to be successful. He's a big factor in the Lakers' success. Yeah. It can't just be LeBron, but who's that third sort of pillar of success for the Lakers?
Yes, to be determined.
You don't think it's Rui Hachimura, JJ off the bench to
we need
score
to be running
us.
plays. Our offense needs to be moving.
I mean, I think Austin Reeves could ascend to that role. I think
It'll be cool to see him alongside Dalton Connect. Do you think Dalton Connect will outplay Austin Reeves in this upcoming season? Is that a possibility? No. Maybe.
It's yet to be determined. I don't want to
We don't want to we can speculate.
Speculate so early.
If you had to put money on it.
It depends if they give him the opportunity to.
Yeah, exactly. I was just going to say, I think it's based on how much playing time. I want to say JJ Redick is going to play him a lot based on the offense that he's...
Play who a lot? Dalton Connect?
Dalton Connect.
Yeah, he is going to play him a lot.
Based on the offense that I think he wants to run, because it's heavy on threes and all that. Mm-hmm. Ball movement, screens,
and
pick and rolls.
The fact that he's an older athlete is going to make him more NBA ready day one.
He's more mature.
He's more mature.
He's more mature basketball player at his age. So I'm hoping. I mean, do I want him to have a breakout season? Of course,
He did 4 years of college, right?
He did 4 years of college. Yeah.
Didn't he go to community college as well? Or
he went to JC. Then he transferred from some other college. He went to 2 different colleges. So we'll see.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the Lakers how their season pans out. We have high hopes, and I'm sure that they'll do well. But again, I agree with you. We're going to be fighting for that 7th, 8th seed like we've been doing.
Yeah,
the past I don't know how many years. Unfortunately,
I think 5th through 3rd.
5 years. Maybe.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah.
So the big difference, the big X factor is
X factor is health.
Health. Is it JJ Redick
health
being
and team chemistry.
A better coach than what Darvin Ham was? Maybe.
Well, we had flashes of brilliance under Darvin Ham, and then we would just
his
revert
first season
to strange lineups and
I think he had a hard time putting lineups together in a way where his substitutions would come in at a good time. It was just really weird.
We'd break momentum a lot.
I think there was times where Rui was having a good week, and then he would bring him off the bench. It's dude, Rui should be starting. Or whatever, or D'Lo, same thing with D'Lo. D'Lo should be coming off the bench and having Austin start or whatever. But, just having that, I don't know, that just, I guess that awareness of the rhythm that you're having. It's a long season, so the lineups are not always going to stay the same. And hopefully maybe JJ has a good hands on that. I know his coaching staff came out recently, so he has a lot of veteran coaches on his staff. So we'll see. I'm hoping that all these guys that have NBA coaching experience can guide them on how to do all those little things when it comes to coaching.
Yeah, let's be positive. I think JJ Redick's performance and what he brings to the table obviously is still yet to be seen, but I'm on the side that says, hey, let's give him a shot, and I think he could do a great job. So we'll see as that unfolds in this upcoming season. So just kind of going into the next topic, I know that we're all big on coffee, and coincidentally, we all own the same type of coffee machine, a Breville Espresso. I think it's officially called the Breville Espresso Express Machine.
Why do you say it like that?
How am I supposed to say it? What do you want me to say?
Breville.
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 Breville. Accento on it.
Italian accento?
Breville.
Continue.
I know. Thank you, sir. So, I mean, and unfortunately, this morning I was out of coffee beans. Those locally sourced coffee beans that really bring the best out of, the coffee machine.
Obviously, the best out of me. I thought you were
and the best out of me in turn, right? Because you're having quality espresso.
Yeah.
But I don't know. How do you guys feel about your coffee machines? And I know Adrian, you and I talked about the optimal grind setting because it has a built-in grinder, which you can adjust. You can make it
based on the beans. That
you could, but you could actually open it and make it grind your beans even finer than what it comes as default. So I've done that, and it's actually really helped my extraction for my espresso. And I recommend a lot of you look into that. There's plenty of videos out there on how to make the grinding finer on your machine. And I know this is kind of random, but we love our coffee. And so again, I recommend going into the settings of your coffee machine, making sure that you have it tuned in optimally so that your extraction is on point. You're not going to regret it from a tasting standpoint. The way if you want to do a latte, if you want to do an Americano, if you want to, the sky's the limit. You can do whatever you want once you have those espresso shots. But I mean, I don't know how you got when it comes to your morning routine. I mean, how do you just are you the coffee maker in your household?
My wife is the coffee connoisseur or whatever you want to call it. Connoisseur.
Yeah.
She's the one that got me into it. She's the one that did all the research on the Breville. Is that what you said?
Are we saying it right? How do you say it?
I don't know if I'm right.
Oh, come on, man.
I don't know if
we'll just say Breville.
Breville?
I say Breville.
Breville?
So she's the one that got into it. She got me into it. She experimented with it. She ended up buying one. I think we've gone to Starbucks maybe like twice in the year and a half that we've had it.
So from a cost savings perspective, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I want to say we are saving maybe like close to $350 a month.
Yep.
Just on coffee.
So that should be a no-brainer for anybody that's on the fence of buying a good entry level espresso machine. Is you're gonna save in the long run because you're not gonna go buy your coffee at a Starbucks or Phil's Coffee or whatever it is.
And I'll say somebody who doesn't have any experience when it comes to coffee espresso machines, it's very simple to use once you learn how to use it. I myself make my coffee every day. In the beginning, I was like kind of hesitant. I didn't want to like do something wrong, so I had my wife show me a couple times. And after that, it's like, dude, it's very basic. And it's, to me, the coffee I make at home is 10 times better than I would buy at any coffee shop in LA. Yep. And there's thousands of coffee shops in LA, and I would hands down still prefer to make coffee at home.
I'd say the first day or the first week, you see how glaringly different it is when you make your coffee at home versus what you've been buying for the past few years.
Yeah, and for me, it's like obviously about the ingredients you use.
The coffee beans,
I use like the creamer that I use.
Even the creamer.
Way better than you would buy at Starbucks or wherever you go, Coffee Bean. So for me, it's like one of the best investments we've had. The machine's pretty much paid off itself already in terms of like how much money we've saved since we've had it.
Yeah, those machines go for roughly $700-800, I would say, right?
Easy.
But if you're saving $350 a month after 2 or 3 months, that investment is already paid for itself.
Yeah, so
easily,
highly recommend anybody who's even hesitant about getting.
We even got Adrian. Recently bought.
Yeah, I've been a huge coffee guy for like probably since college, which is now a few years ago now.
Yeah.
But I was this huge coffee nerd. I would go to all these like local coffee shops looking for the best coffee, spending all this money for like $6 to $7 cups of coffee that are locally roasted places and their specialty coffee shops. Because back in the day, it was always just Starbucks, Coffee Bean. Mm-hmm. Nobody did the whole specialty coffee shop thing yet.
That's everybody's go-to.
Mm-hmm. And then I feel like within the past like 10 years, like local coffee shops started blowing up, and they're everywhere now. Everybody's got oat milk now. Everybody's got soy milk. Like you got all your milk options.
I prefer 2% milk or
They give you
whole milk, whatever it is.
They give you all these options to customize your drinks, and then you go to checkout and your coffee's $7, and you're like,
for a little
dang.
cup of
for a
iced
little,
coffee.
To get good
whatever
coffee.
you like,
whatever it is, yeah.
And that's when
and you get a bag of beans for maybe $24 ish on the high side,
15
to 20.
Yeah.
So and you can, with one bag of beans, how many coffees can you make? I think.
A lot.
What would you guys estimate? At least
I mean,
over 15.
Between
Yeah,
my
over
wife
15.
and I,
Over
I
15.
mean, we make pretty much like 2 a day for
Uh-huh.
each of us.
with one bag, and then how long does that
Oh
bag last
no,
you?
not per bag.
No, I know, but
we usually buy, like, we go to Smart and Final. They have a good espresso bean there that's really good and not very expensive. My cousin told us about it. Shout out Jesse. And that bag maybe lasts us maybe like 2.5, 3 weeks. Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
We're making 2 coffees a day.
2.5,
each.
3 weeks.
Yeah.
2 coffees a day.
Yeah.
What is
Yeah.
that? 221. Wow, it's over 40 coffees
Yeah.
with one bag.
Think about it. Yeah.
Over
Say
40
at
coffees.
How big's the bag?
$7 plus tax.
Yeah, how big is the bag? Is that like a 5-pound bag or something?
It's
No,
maybe a
not
little bit
5
less.
pounds.
That's
2.5 pound. I don't know. I'm thinking of the
Maybe-
Costco size.
Oh no.
Those
no,
are like
no.
huge.
No, it's not that big. But you know, it does the job. Tastes really good. You know, the smell of it when you turn on, when it's like,
Yeah.
it's the
Turn it
best.
on,
It's
it's
the
like,
best.
zzz.
Oh god.
Yeah, it's the best.
I gotta go get some
Right.
more beans for sure.
You should hit up. I highly recommend the Boy and the Bear in Redondo Beach.
Boy in
You
the
can
Bear.
buy it.
I've heard of them. Yeah.
They sell like I think it's a kilo. Is the measurement? A kilogram of beans.
A kilo.
It's like this.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Are we still talking about coffee?
That's the measurement they're using. It's funny.
What does that
It's
translate?
a big
What
bag.
does that
Are
translate
they
into
out
pounds?
on
I wonder.
like Sepulveda?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
right.
right
Yeah,
by
okay, yeah, I've seen
Redondo
them.
High School.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've seen them.
Which one do you prefer? The dark, sort of dark roast, lighter roast, medium? What's your preference?
I like a medium roast.
Medium
Yeah, I like
roast?
a medium roast too. Yeah, I want to say.
Dark can be too much at times. And
I like the more bold,
I don't really mess
darker
with the,
roast.
Yeah.
I don't really mess with light roasts yet.
Oh, light roast, yeah, at that point. There's not much coffee in it.
Need some
That's the
strength
next
in
step.
that bad
Just
boy.
water. Okay. Yeah, that was just an interesting thing that we wanted to randomly introduce was coffee because we really do love it, and we share the same hardware, the Breville. I want to say it the right. Breville?
Breville.
I would say caution on buying it because I know a lot of people that have bought espresso machines and then they end up just sitting on their counters never.
But
used.
what happened in
What
those
differentiates
cases?
those type of- I don't
Why
know.
did they do that?
I
They
feel like
didn't
some
want
people buy
to.
them
Yeah.
thinking they're going to be making coffees every day and then they just revert back to what they were doing.
Oh
And
man.
That's part of it, and I think maybe they
For the amount
anticipated.
of money it costs, you would think they would
They
be jumping on it, right? Like
I
no
know.
They
hesitation.
anticipated a Keurig machine that they could just
Yeah.
boop. And no, it does. You gotta the grind. I mean, you gotta dial it in. You gotta make sure you tamp it at the right pressure. Force. But it's definitely worth it, and I know we all sort of recommend it. Okay, so this is something new that we haven't really done in the previous episodes, but it's a new segment that we want to introduce called the Mindfulness Segment.
Mindfulness.
So, I mean, obviously, as we scroll through Instagram, I think a lot of us come across those inspirational sort of videos, quotes, self-care, or, just kind of psychologically how to approach your daily with all the negativity that's around us, from news, from events. Like, how do you center yourself? How do you say to yourself, okay, well, I'm going to reject all of that negativity. I'm going to find a positive sort of mental space internally within myself, right? You don't really need anybody to do that. You can do it yourself. So, I think it'd be a good way for us every week to highlight that mindfulness.
Right.
Maybe introducing a quote that you came across the previous week that inspired you, that made you stop and think, okay, you know what? That approach there is something that I can integrate within my daily routine that'll help benefit not only myself, but my family around me, my loved ones,
Right.
and I can share that. So for me, I'll open it up. One quote that kind of hit me recently the past week that had me stop and think twice was the quote of, watch your thoughts because your thoughts become your words. Watch your words because your words become your actions. Right? So that kind of stopped me right there. It's like, wow. It's like, you know what? I need to do a better job of monitoring my thoughts and, sort of maybe silencing the negativity that may come across my mind. Because if I don't, that those negative thoughts are going to feed, the things that I say, the way that I express myself, and then ultimately my actions, the things that I do, the things that become physical. Right. So that to me is something, stuck to me. I wanted to share with you guys. Hopefully, you can take it however you'd like to take that.
No, and
but
I like that because I feel like for you and I, since we have kids.
And we have kids,
kids are always watching.
Mm-hmm.
Every little thing. Every little thing we say, every little thing we do, how we react to things,
mm-hmm.
It perceives to them whether we know it or not. So for us, it's like how we react to a certain situation is how our kids will react to that certain situation. We don't think about those things, right? Because in the moment, if it's something that, makes us mad or has us, or to have a certain reaction to it, we don't realize when our kids watch, when that same thing happens to them, same situation, scenario, similar, they'll have that same reaction. So
and it's a small moment that we think means nothing,
exactly,
but it means everything to them.
Exactly. So,
and if you continue to do it,
right?
Yeah.
So for me, I'll use myself as an example where something that I'll react to, that say something doesn't go my way and I'm doing something and I get upset, instead of internalizing it and realizing hey, my kid's right next to me or she's in the same room as me, I'm gonna be calm. I'm gonna react to it, because what they see is how they react. So it's one of those things, like you said, obviously being mindful of it and also just taking a second to think about it, right?
It's difficult. It's hard to initiate that,
because
execute
it's
that.
human nature, right? I know for us,
our emotions get the
best of
us, and we're frustrated, and we become impatient, and then that emotion takes over, and then you come out and say, you get upset, you maybe say something you didn't mean,
but at that time sometimes it's too late. Obviously, it's good to have the recognition, oh, you know what, I shouldn't have said that, or I shouldn't have reacted that way.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you would have taken that split second and just
think about it,
stop yourself. It's easier said than done, right?
Yeah. And look, we're not perfect. I know that the idea, the perception is perfection, right? Have no flaws, do it perfectly the first time. But the reality is we all make mistakes. So when that happens, take the sort of state of mind to step back and apologize. I've done that recently. I apologize. I apologize. I don't have to get specific in terms of what I apologized for.
No, I want to know now.
I mean, it's important. Compadres are watching. They want to know what I did. Let's just say, it may not feel. I know I'm not gonna get specific, but I'll speak generally. It may not seem like a big thing to you personally. You may say to yourself, "Well, it wasn't a big deal. Who cares? They're making a big deal out of it." At the end of the day, you got to humble yourself and say, you know what? It doesn't matter. Was it slightly wrong? Probably. So let me acknowledge that and apologize. And the person receiving that apology is going to appreciate that. And you'll be able to move forward to heal from that and say, all right, it's water under the bridge now. Let's go on to that next sort of obstacle or challenge or achievement, and let's put this behind us.
But I want to say, even for you personally, I would say even that is a step of growth, right? It's something that you normally wouldn't do otherwise.
I'm super observant. I get lost in the details of things, and I remember every little thing that led up to me maybe reacting in the way that I did, right. And I keep stock of it, and I say, well, and I start to maybe justify my reaction or my behavior. Right. I did this because X, Y, and Z.
Right.
But then you can't do that because.
No, but the fact that like you said, you acknowledge it.
Mm-hmm.
I know even you and I have had conversations where I bring certain things up,
mm-hmm.
and you'll tell me you know what, you got a point.
You got a point.
Versus saying defending yourself the whole time.
Nope.
And being no, but this is the reason why. So this is how it is. Versus really
mm-hmm.
looking at the overall picture, looking at it from both sides, which is hard to do. I feel a lot of people don't do that in a sense where. Well, nowadays everybody's
you're trained to win. You're trained to be right.
Yeah, it's not a competition.
Yeah. It's not a competition.
No, this is we're trying to understand each other.
How do we both grow together, kind of a thing.
Yeah, and I feel speaking in relationships, like in general, I feel like in order for like for you to have a healthy relationship in any aspect, friendship, marriage, whatever it might be,
your kids,
like your ego needs to be put to the side, because you'll never be able to fully understand that person if you have an ego, because it'll overtake anything that you're trying to communicate with that other person. So I always feel like if you don't have an ego in a relationship, your relationship will grow, whether it be a friendship, marriage, whatever it may be. So I'm really big on that.
That's a really good point. Like keeping your ego in check.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's hard, but you can do it.
It's way easier said than done, but when you learn to do it, you will see the benefits of it. Because
Absolutely.
you'll really build that relationship with that person. Because I feel like if you always have an ego, you're always clashing, right? And
you definitely have to lead by example. I mean, I don't want to go backwards in this development that we're talking about, but is the other person within the same mindset and discipline?
Not all the time.
No. So that's where the sort of perceived unfairness gets introduced, to where you backtrack and say, wait a minute, am I apologizing too much for something? You get what I'm saying? It becomes a slippery slope at that point.
I also feel like that's, if you want to call it, like a leadership role comes in. Like you take it upon yourself to introduce that aspect of a relationship to individual.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like somebody that maybe is not comfortable in that communication aspect, they might be like, I don't even know how to start. I don't even know what you're talking about. So you sit there and you explain to them, dude, this is why I feel like you should do this, whatever, blah, 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 right?
Clear out the distraction.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely. What about you, Adrian? I mean, I know this is kind of a new
specific quote.
I mean, it isn't. Yeah, maybe something you've come across lately that made you kind of stop and say, "Oh, wow, that's a good point. Maybe I should try to." And it could even be something. Hey, I mean, I know you read the Bible on from time to time, and maybe there's something there, a lesson. I don't know, like, and
I've been on and off with it. I've been trying to get better about reading the Bible, and the more you read it. I haven't read the full thing through yet.
I don't know. Have you read the whole Bible?
No.
I haven't even. Yeah, I
highly suggest. I haven't done it yet, but it's like one of my goals is to read through it, and just gain that full understanding of God's message, what Jesus was trying to teach us while he was here on earth. And there's so many life lessons that are in the Bible, and just going off like inspirational quotes that you hear all the time. I can't name any specific ones. But basically, anything that you've heard, that you've heard from like your favorite person, celebrity, I don't know, Kobe, motivational coaches, all of that's
except David Goggins. He's different.
All your favorite motivational quotes, all of them stem from the Bible. Like you can find any quote or
life
specific
lesson,
verse,
life lesson.
It's all in there. That all you need is in that book.
It's funny that you mentioned that.
I can't recite.
And it's not talked about. It's not talked about enough. It needs to be talked about more, right?
There's this guy I follow on Instagram who's like, he interviews like these people that are successful, like business people. And he interviewed this one guy one time, and he asked him, "What's one of the things that made you successful, whatever?" And he's like, "Honestly, like reading the Bible. Like lessons in there brought things to my business, or his whatever ventures he was on, and it helped him like kind of group things together." So when you mentioned that, I was like, that's kind of ironic that he might, but yeah, it's very true.
It forces you to think outside of the box, because it's challenging to understand at times. There's the surface level reading where you get what it says,
right.
But then there's the part where you have to understand things from the time period that they were in, the culture that existed at that time,
right?
How the interactions were, the historical side of things. And it forces you to have that different perspective, which is important in your everyday life, like being able to separate yourself from the moment and kind of look from above, like, okay, this is my point of view on this specific topic. This is why I believe this certain thing. We're arguing because of this, but let me try and understand where they're coming from. And like you try to put yourself in the other person's shoes.
And that's great. I feel like more people need. I feel like so much conflict in this world is because people don't do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? and that goes back to the whole ego thing.
Ego.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it does tell you, like Adrian said, like it kind of does force you to look things from the other side. And once you do that, you know, and it's easier said than done, you know, but I feel like once you put yourself in that position, things will make more sense to you.
Yeah, no, definitely. It makes me think of a recent Joe Rogan podcast. He had a guest on, and he was talking. This guy did not believe in God. Well, what's the term for that? Someone that doesn't
Like
believe.
atheist?
He was an atheist. So he was an atheist, and he said he had, you know, sort of researched all types of different things, phenomenon, or, you know, things around the world, and he came across, obviously, you know, the Bible, God. It's like, well, let me go into this and see, you know, how it, what I can uncover, what I can learn from it. And then when he came out of it, he learned how powerful prayer is, right? Like he said, oh, wow, like the Holy Spirit is a real thing. And it transformed his belief system, and it impacted him in a positive way. So, I mean, that just goes to show you someone who is, you know, a non-believer could, you know, try to come across this objectively and learn about it and come out, you know, in a positive way. So I just wanted to sort of also talk about that.
Even all the things you were saying about what you think matters, what you speak. I mean, I've been in church, and there's been times where that's specifically what the lesson is on, is how important the words that we speak and the power that they have.
Yeah,
So when you speak, there's almost like this other thread of the universe that it's going into.
I almost feel like when we speak, we need like more time to really fully explain, let your thoughts manifest themselves or evolve. Like we have to like get to our point. We have to be like, all right, well, what is that? And then what does this mean? And what is that? Yeah. It's like it like if we were to just kind of take our time and really like let it marinate, maybe it could benefit us holistically. But anyway,
there's something else I wanted to touch on.
Yeah, sure.
Before I move on.
Yeah.
In terms of how you were talking about apologizing and the importance of apologizing and recognizing that, there's also a point where apologizing, you can only apologize so much, but the next thing that matters a lot is your actions. Like, don't just apologize, be different.
Dude, that is so. I already know, dude. That's so spot on.
It's like saying, "Don't tell me you're sorry.
Don't tell me you're sorry.
Or whatever."
That's something my dad
Don't just give me your words. Give me your actions.
And I'm
right?
big on that, dude.
Yeah.
Because to me, like, especially nowadays, I feel like words don't mean as much as they used to.
Well, talk is cheap.
More is like, you show me, dude.
Talk is cheap.
I'm all about actions.
I mean, that's a really good point, Adrian. I know that when my wife goes back to watch this episode, when you made that point, she's gonna look at me and say, "You see." You see, he understood it completely. You need to put it into action. No, don't just be, speaking about it. Be about it. So I love that. Yeah, thanks for that.
Something I've always gotten since I was like 6. I would always hang out with all of the adults, just sitting, listening to their conversations. Being the kid that's like, you never know. Like, kids pay attention to everything they're always watching.
Exactly. There you go. Perfect example.
All the adults always used to tell me I was like mature for my age, or like wise beyond my years.
Well, growing
and I still keep hearing that, even like till today. Even my wife, she's like, you're like so wise beyond your years, like almost like you have like a old soul.
Yeah, I could see
that. That's always stuck with me. I'm like, I don't know what it is.
I think it has a lot to do with how you were brought up. I feel.
Yeah,
I think that's really what it is.
It's a nice, like, I would hate to struggle with that. And I know, and that's like where I struggle with, is understanding how other people have trouble, like, being good or resisting their urges, and like there's like this whole other side of it where I just don't understand, because to me it comes more naturally.
Well, yeah, because I feel like those values that people have are taught.
Yeah.
And like you mentioned, I feel like those other people, maybe they've never experienced that, so they can't relate. But it's not their fault.
Yeah.
At the same time, so I feel like how you're brought up has a lot to do with, like, as a child, I feel like it has so much to do as how you become an adult. 100%.
Definitely, yeah.
100%. And then you also have those other people that had like horrible childhoods and still have, become these incredible human beings. So it goes both ways, but yeah, I think as fathers, I think we try to do the best we can, right?
That's all we
single
can
day,
do.
every
Just
single
try the
day.
best that you can. I mean,
Yes, as fathers.
Yeah.
eventually you'll
Maybe
join
one
us in
day.
that category.
Someday soon.
No pressure.
Careful
No.
with your words.
Oh, I know. Oh,
I put it out in
God.
the universe
Oh, God.
already.
What do I do
I
now?
got people at my wife's work trying to baby bump her. The ones,
Yeah, already?
Yeah, one of her coworkers is pregnant, and she's always like, "Let me baby bump you again," because.
Oh, is that a thing? They like bump them. It's like
to get like
That's
saying you're
hilarious.
next.
I believe it, man. I look
And
forward to that day.
I think we've had this conversation before, and I told you, man, don't put a time on it, bro.
Yeah, enjoy
You and
your
wife are
honeymoon
still young.
phase.
You guys don't put a time on it. You'll know when
you
there
guys
is
are
no,
ready.
There is no right time. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
It's whenever both of you are on the same page.
There
and
is
are
no
ready.
right time. Just don't pass 35.
No, that's not true.
I'd say mentally
That's
I'm
not
ready
true.
now.
Yes, it is.
That's not true.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
So, all right, we
I've
don't
reached
got
the point now where I would say I'm ready, and like I would feel no bother at all. That like I would be like, okay, let's do it.
It changes
it's
your
time.
it changes your
Yeah.
life from the perspective of it's no longer you and your partner only. You
Yeah.
have new souls that are introduced into the equation, and it changes the dynamic from that
I'll tell
standpoint.
you this: you will learn so much about yourself once, God willing, that child comes into your life, and you'll learn about things that you thought you couldn't do, and things that you'll have like superpowers you don't even know you have.
The dad strength.
And it's one of those things where you'll know when it happens, and it's beautiful, man. It's part of fatherhood. I'll say it over again. I sound like a broken record, but to me, being a dad is the greatest thing in life. There is nothing close, and I think Frank can agree. It's one of those things where it's
Absolutely. Yeah, I love being a father.
You guys
and
get to be your own superhero if you do it right. That's how your kids will see you.
yeah.
That's
but
how I saw my dad. Yeah.
I feel like when it comes to being a father, like in general, there's no right way or wrong way. There's
That's
your
true.
way. There's
Yeah,
your way. And nobody can take that away from you. And your kid will be your biggest fan, dude. Kids, maybe we'll see.
I mean, so I think we made some great points there. And this segue is kind of sudden and just random. But, one thing that we pride ourselves on is being versatile in the things that we talk about. Unfortunately, at this stage, we can't bring in special, like, celebrity guests or
Not yet.
PhDs or, all types of people that are very...
Maybe one day.
maybe one day, that are very, well-versed in a specific topic. We're not there yet, obviously, but we do like to introduce various topics. And again, this is a random shift, but one thing we wanted to talk about today is when it comes to like UFOs, right? Aliens, that kind of stuff. Again, random, but we talked about this during our review and where we stand and that kind of belief. And I know like last year it had a lot more momentum. Like there was disclosure from the U.S. government officially, right, that there was these unidentified aerial phenomenon that they had no idea, again, what it was, and they could not explain it, or at least not to the extent that they were willing to tell us, right? There was probably things that they wanted to keep secret, and I love that kind of stuff. When it comes to aliens and UFOs, I mean, I'm a big sci-fi guy. So do I believe that it exists? Absolutely. I think it's a real thing. It's undeniable. It's been recorded on video, on camera, for decades, for hundreds of years. So I just kind of wanted to open it up, briefly, how you guys feel about that. If you feel like it in fact is a real thing, or if it's just a bunch of nonsense.
We are not alone.
We are not alone.
Yeah, definitely.
No, I mean, I think if you just look in history itself, I'm a fan of the Ancient Alien show on the History Channel, and they've depicted different events and things within history, like the pyramids and all that in Egypt, and how there's no way with the tools they had at that time they would have been built by man.
Yeah, how did the Egyptians build the pyramids?
The Mayan pyramids.
Yeah.
It's been depicted. They've shown paintings of the people at the time that have depicted like a higher being or things like that. So in history, I mean, you just go back in the history books and it tells you like, you know, they've existed for millions of years. It's not just, you know, but as far as like modern times now, I feel like personally, like they have lived amongst us and they've been here for many, many years. And for some reason, the government just decided for their own reasons to not share certain information, things like that to us for our own good, I guess. But no, definitely, I've always felt our universe is too big. There's multi-universes and things like
multiverses.
Multiverses.
We can't. It would be very
impossible that we're the only living.
It would be very egotistical for us to think.
Yeah, exactly.
That it's just us and nothing else is developed.
There's no way.
The way that we have.
I mean, I think you would be foolish to think that we're the only humankind or living beings in this universe we live in.
Yeah, somewhere along the timeline, something changed in human development. And there's people that say, or there's like, when you go down the rabbit hole, people say that there's alien beings that modified the DNA of like
Isn't there like a specific? There's like a specific.
And like,
there's a specific thing in human DNA that kind of points to that, right? Like I forget what it is, but
it's like a small alteration to where we become like these conscious beings with all these abilities, and people even reference like our strange obsession with like gold, and like why is that in us? Like why are we naturally inclined to like seek that type of resource? And it's so instrumental in like technology as like a electricity conductor, and we just naturally gravitate towards that. There's people there's like things that are said
like you said, there's a rabbit hole in this.
We were designed that way to like harvest gold for like ancient beings back in the day as like a resource that they could use.
And they left us behind, or maybe they're underground at this point.
There's stuff like that. Last year I was huge into that whole, like I went kind of.
It's a rabbit hole, right?
Down the rabbit hole.
It's very tiring.
And I remember my brother told me, he's like I went down this rabbit hole years ago. He's like, I know everything you're finding out already.
Yeah.
He's like,
and there's probably truth to it, but you'll never be able to prove it.
Yeah.
He's like,
I'd say just let it go.
Just let it go.
He's like, because it can lead to places to where you might lose yourself if you go too far. At least for himself, he said he had moments where he stopped like
believing in certain things.
In the core things, like core realities, kind of a thing.
What's true? Yeah.
It's like what am I? Yeah. What is life? What is reality? Right? You just go off the deep end at that point.
Yeah. There's so much to it.
There's so much to it. The thing that gets me was I think the middle of last year there was again that sort of initial phases of disclosure from the government, and you even had some. There was an ex government official. His name was David Grush, who came out publicly to Congress and just sort of talked about the lack of maybe accountability or proper sort of disclosure of the topic, and so it really opened up, I think, a lot of people's eyes. And what he said essentially was that it was confirmed that the U.S. government had retrieved UAPs, and it had gone decades back, and the number of retrievals was I think in the tens, not hundreds of cases, but in the tens of cases, and we had been trying to reverse engineer those craft for some time now. He couldn't really disclose too much about the sensitive nature of that stuff, but it was very eye-opening to have a government official, officially come out and give more specifics to just, maybe video of a flying saucer, that was blurry in the sky, or something that really doesn't give much context or additional information on who's piloting those aircraft and what's behind it. Like, are they part of a group that, who knows what, right? So it was really, I think, for me, an interesting time, and we thought more would come from it, and it kind of became silenced, or the steam ran out, and we started going into other things, right? Maybe sports, other distractions. And but for me, it's something that I still am passionate about, and I look forward to seeing the new developments on that and see if we get more disclosure. But again, just an interesting topic in regards to into that phenomenon.
Yeah. I just like to know the truth. Like,
I know it'd be nice. Are we ever gonna know the truth?
I just want to know.
I don't think so.
I don't think we're ever gonna know.
Someone leak it.
Somebody leak it. No,
but they're so good at separating information and who knows what that it's very easy for them to keep those type of things.
Oh yeah.
Down.
Jeez. So
they can easily turn it into a conspiracy and just be like, oh, that's just a conspiracy.
That's the hard part. It's all there's so many conspiracies that get tied into it. You can go on Twitter or X and just go into that rabbit hole and never come out of it and never really feel like you're able to confirm any of that stuff. So it's difficult.
A lot of times conspiracies are manufactured on purpose.
Yeah.
Misleading,
Absolutely.
right? Yeah.
I believe in that.
Yeah, misleading. Get people to think it's fake and then just have like society just kind of blow it off. I'm like, oh, it's just another conspiracy.
It's just another bologna sandwich.
Yeah.
So, all right, I think we've pretty much talked about most of our topics, but I do want to close out with the Dodgers.
You want to do it? We could save it if you want.
Is there anything new that we wanted to bring up about the Dodgers?
Not too much.
Just that
as far as time-wise, I think.
Time-wise, we should probably wrap it up.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to close this out?
Yeah. So,
okay.
This wraps this episode of Compadres Talk. Special thanks to Adrian for filling in for Rich today. And if you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also follow us on Instagram. All right, Compadres out.
Peace.